Too lazy to garden? Plant these 9 plants in August. They come back every year, forever. You bought Echinacea because everyone said it was easy to grow. Bought Rudbeckia because you saw it on Pinterest. Bought Sedum because it can't die. You planted, watered, the plants lived, the garden looked truly beautiful. Then one morning you walk the dog around the neighborhood and realize something uncomfortable. The garden at house number 12 looks exactly like yours. The garden on the corner looks exactly the same. You weren't wrong. You just planted the same plants everyone else plants. I was once the same way. The garden was beautiful, truly beautiful, but no one stopped the car to look. No one asked the name of a plant. Not because the plants were ugly, but because my garden had no unique quality, nothing that was only mine. And then I realized this, the thing that 90% of the easy plants lists on YouTube never tell you. A beautiful garden doesn't need the most beautiful plants. It needs plants no one else has. All 9 plants today come back forever. Plant once, live for decades. Some live longer than you. This is the list for busy people, forgetful people, people who want beauty without babysitting, and who want a garden that doesn't look like anyone else's on the block. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the button now because this kind of content comes out every week. Plant number 5 alone is worth staying until the end of the video. It has the shape of a turtle's head with its mouth open. Bumblebees have to shove their whole head inside to get the nectar, and it is the only plant on Earth that can host a Native American butterfly species that is disappearing. Let's begin. Plant number 1, balloon flower, also called Chinese bellflower. And if you want a garden that has something that makes guests stop and ask, what is that little round bud? This is the first plant you should grow. The scientific name is Platycodon grandiflorus, native to Northeast Asia, China, Korea, Japan, and the Russian Far East. In Korea it is called doragi and is edible. The roots are thinly sliced, pickled, and added to bibimbap. If you have ever eaten at a Korean restaurant and seen the white, chewy, mildly bitter strands in the banchan dishes, that may have been the root of this plant. But you are not planting it to eat. You are planting it for the buds. The buds of balloon flower truly inflate like a balloon. The 5 sepals stick together into a sealed sphere holding air inside, swell over several days, then the petals push out from the top and burst into a 5-pointed star. Not a metaphor. The buds actually swell. The petals actually pop open. Colors include deep blue, purple, pink, and white. Plants grow from 12 to 24 inches tall. Dwarf varieties only 4 to 6 inches. This is what makes it perfect for lazy gardeners. Balloon flower has extremely sensitive fleshy taproots. If they break, the plant dies, which means you are not allowed to divide it, and you don't need to. The plant takes care of its own longevity. You plant it once, leave it alone, and it stays year after year. It is extremely cold hardy. It tolerates drought because the roots dive deep seeking water in lower layers. It blooms continuously from July through September. Butterflies come, bees come, pests almost completely ignore it. Non-invasive, non-toxic to children or pets. Prefers full sun to light shade. The only thing that kills this plant is heavy clay soil that stays waterlogged, poor drainage, and the plant dies in the first winter. End of story. A few small details worth remembering. This plant emerges very late in spring, later than most other perennials, so mark the spot with a stake after planting. Otherwise in spring you will dig it up by mistake when the space looks empty. If you cut stems for a vase, sear the cut end with a match, and the flowers last twice as long. And do not pile thick mulch around the base in winter. Moles and voles will dig up and eat the roots. This is the plant that makes people stop and ask its name, and the answer is one of the easiest plants you can grow. Balloon flower is hardy in USDA zones 3 to 9, surviving from skin-cutting cold Minnesota to hot humid Georgia. August is the ideal time to plant. The soils are still warm, nights are beginning to cool, the plant roots quickly without stress, and you still have 8 to 10 weeks before the first frost. Plant number 2, Blackberry Lily. This is the only plant on today's list that gives you 2 separate shows on the same plant. Summer is the flower show, winter is the blackberries. The scientific name is a little confusing. It was originally called Bellamcanda chinensis, and most growers still use that name. But in 2005, DNA evidence showed it belongs to the Iris genus, so scientists changed the name to Iris domestica. It also has 3 common names: blackberry lily for the seeds, leopard lily for the flowers, leopard flower for the spots. It is a lily that is not a lily, an iris with iris leaves but lily flowers. Confused identity. That is part of why it is so distinctive. The leaves fan out in a Japanese fan shape, about 10 inches long, smooth green. In July and August the flower stalks rise, each carrying from 3 to 12 bright orange-red blooms, speckled with deep red spots exactly like leopard skin. Each flower opens for only one day, but the stalks bloom continuously for many weeks. Then autumn arrives, the seed pods split open, revealing clusters of shiny black seeds stacked exactly like real blackberries, and those seed clusters stay on the stalks all winter, a focal point in an otherwise bare garden. The dried roots have long been used in East Asian medicine, but do not try it at home. Every part of the plant can cause discomfort if swallowed, and the seeds look delicious but are actually toxic. Be careful with children and dogs. This is what makes it ideal for lazy gardeners. The mother plant actively spreads offspring around the area. You plant 6 plants this year. 3 years later you have 20 plants, without spending another cent. The plant does not ask permission, does not wait for you to divide it. It handles the expansion itself. Cold hardy in USDA zones 4 to 10, surviving from Wisconsin to Florida. Prefers full sun to light shade. Drought tolerant thanks to water storing rhizomes underground, functioning like a miniature cactus. Needs no pesticides, deer and bugs both avoid it. Combines beautifully with ornamental grasses such as maiden grass or fountain grass. The only thing that kills this plant is wet soil in winter. It must have good drainage or plant it on a slight mound. Plant 5 inches deep to the rhizome, 3 to 4 inches apart, about 6 to 9 plants per square foot. And watch out for iris borers, same family as iris, so they share the pest. This is the kind of plant you not only plant, but also harvest. One November afternoon you stand in the yard, pick the shiny black seeds into a small glass jar on the dining table. A natural gift returned, costing nothing. Blackberry Lily is hardy in zones 4 to 10. August is the ideal time to plant the rhizomes. They root slowly but steadily, without wasting energy on late blooms, and the following spring they flower twice as strongly. If you are in a cold zone, 2 inches of mulch through the first winter is enough. Plant number 3, Little Adder Anise Hyssop. If you have ever wished for a plant that releases a licorice scent when you brush it lightly, whose leaves you can pick for tea, and that brings hummingbirds within 12 inches of you, then this is that plant. The scientific name is Agastache rugosa, little adder. Common names are Korean mint, anise hyssop, or hummingbird mint, all free work. Native to East Asia, growing wild in China, Korea, Vietnam, and Japan. Now, there are many Agastache varieties on the market, but the reason you specifically want Little Adder is that it grows only 15 to 18 inches tall, much smaller than the popular Black Adder or Blue Fortune, yet it blooms 3 times as much. Smaller, more flowers, that is the entire reason. The plant forms a neat little mound with dark green, wrinkled, arrow-shaped leaves. From the top of the mound rise dense lavender-blue flower spikes, each 2 to 4 inches long, made of tiny tubulate bell-shaped flowers. And here is the important part, it blooms extremely long, from late spring all the way through fall, the longest bloom season of the 9 plants today. By fall the leaves turn bronze and wine-red tones, making the plant a 3-season focal point. This is a plant you can use in the kitchen. The leaves brew into tea that smells of anise and licorice. Sprinkle on salads, garnish cupcakes, marinate grilled chicken. If a recipe calls for anise leaves and you don't want to run to the Asian market, just pick a few leaves from the garden. It is listed among the 50 fundamental herbs of traditional Chinese medicine, and hummingbirds come because of a very specific mechanism. The tubular bell flowers fit perfectly with a hummingbird's beak, while the strong licorice scent acts like a directional sign. The plant turns your garden into a restaurant with a scent menu, cold hardy to -20 degrees Fahrenheit, living comfortably in zones 5 to 9. Deer resistant because of that same licorice scent. Deer hate the smell innately, no learning required. Drought tolerant thanks to essential oils in the leaves that reduce surface water loss, the same mechanism as lavender and rosemary. Needs no fertilizer, the poorer the soil the better. Bees, butterflies and bumblebees flood in from May through October. The only thing that kills this plant is heavy wet clay that holds water. If your garden has poor drainage, the plant will rot in the first winter. Deadhead spent flowers to encourage the next flush. If planted in overly rich soil or an open windy spot, it may need staking so the flower spikes don't flop, and it needs good air circulation or it can get powdery mildew. As for Come Back Forever, The original 18-inch clump doubles in thickness after 3 years thanks to seedlings around the mother and their vision. The older the clump, the more beautiful it becomes. This is the kind of morning this plant gives you. You go out to the garden, pick a few leaves for the teapot. A hummingbird hovers 12 inches away, completely unafraid. That is the kind of morning that makes people leave the city for the suburbs. Little Adder is hardy in zones 5 to 9. August is the perfect time to plant. Nurseries are discounting end-of-season stock. The soil is still warm for fast rooting, and you have 8 to 10 weeks before winter. Plant number 4, Iron Butterfly Ironweed. This is the plant that, if you had known about it earlier, you would be angry no one told you sooner. The scientific name is Vernonia lettermani, iron butterfly. And this is a genuine American native. It exists in the wild only in 2 states, Arkansas and Oklahoma, along the Okata River drainage, not an import from Asia or Europe. It is named after Edward Palmer, a 19th century wandering botanist who collected specimens in Arkansas for researchers at Harvard. The specific iron butterfly cultivar was selected by Dr. Alan Armitage, leading plant breeder at the University of Georgia, from the samples Palmer brought back. That means when you plant this plant, you are connecting with 2 centuries of American Botanical Survey history. The plant forms a low rounded mound 2 to 3 feet tall, with leaves as fine as threads. From a distance it looks like a soft green willow bonsai. That thread leaf texture is beautiful for 4 months, even when the plant has no flowers. In early August, the brilliant purple flower clusters erupt on top, each about 1 inch across, arranged in flat heads, floating like purple clouds against the fine green foliage. Now for the extreme uniqueness. This is the refined miniature cousin of the 8-foot pasture ironweed that American farmers hate because it takes over meadows. That one is Vernonia gigantea. This iron butterfly is only 2 to 3 feet, completely different elegant form. Same family, different class, like a Rolls-Royce and a heavy truck from the same maker. And hummingbirds and butterflies come at exactly the right migration time. Late August into September is when the ruby-throated hummingbird begins its 3,000-mile journey to Central America, and monarchs prepare to fly to Mexico. This plant is the late summer gas station for them, exactly when they need the calories most. Tolerates gravelly soil? Yes. Sandy soil? Yes. Clay soil? Yes. Dry barren soil? Yes. Blazing Texas sun? Perfect. It is drought tolerant because it evolved for thousands of years on dry cracked gravel bars along the Ouachita River, where rain falls and water drains away immediately. Deer resistant because of the rough leaves. Zones 4 to 9. Tolerates temporary flooding because the native gravel bars also flood seasonally. Resistant to rust and fungal diseases. This plant never appears on your weekend worry list. It must be planted in full sun. If shaded, it flops and needs staking, losing all its good form. One small detail worth knowing. This plant can hybridize with other Vernonia species in the area, so dropped seeds may produce seedlings of uneven height and texture. If you want to keep the true iron butterfly form, cut the flower stalks before they set seed and you're done. Lives for many years on durable rhizomes and never needs dividing. This is the kind of moment this plant gives you. Early August, you are sitting eating lunch on the patio. A painted lady butterfly lands on the purple flower cluster 3 feet away. You stand up to get your phone. Too late, it has flown. No problem, there will be another. Iron butterfly is hardy in zones 4 to 9, especially good for the South and Midwest. August is ideal for planting, needing only full sun and well-drained soil. Alright, 4 plants down. I know what you're thinking. Nice, but when do we get to the plant that makes me laugh? The next one. It has the shape of a turtle's head with its mouth open. Bumblebees have to shove their whole head inside to get the nectar, and it has a strange story connected to a butterfly named after the city of Baltimore. Don't go anywhere. Plant number 5, Turtlehead. Here it is. The plant I told you to wait for. The plant that makes neighbors stop at the curb and ask, is that a flower or an actual turtle? No joke. Its shape actually has its own English name. Turtlehead, open-mouthed turtlehead. The scientific name is Chelone glabra for the white form, or Chelone lianea if you want pink flowers. This is a North American native, growing wild from eastern Canada down to Georgia and west to Illinois. That means it has been in the American ecosystem for thousands of years, not an import from anywhere. And here is what makes it different from every other plant on today's list. Turtlehead is the only host plant of the Baltimore checkerspot butterfly. No other plant can replace it. Without turtlehead in the wild, that orange and black butterfly disappears. That simple. Planting this plant in your yard means you are actively saving a declining Native American butterfly species. The creamy white flower clusters, some varieties lightly flushed pink, grow on top of upright stems. Each individual flower looks exactly like a small turtle with its mouth open looking out at the world. But the most interesting part is that bumblebees have to shove their head into that turtle mouth and struggle to pry open the flower lid to reach the nectar. That is Turtlehead's exclusive pollination mechanism. No other plant on today's list has a flower door that must be opened this way. Sit and watch for 15 minutes and you won't get bored. Plants grow 2 to 4 feet tall, taller if planted in shade. Blooms from August through October, and the absolute peak falls right in August. This is the key August plant of the entire list. Now for the crazy science. Baltimore checkerspot caterpillars eat turtlehead leaves from the start. In the process, their bodies absorb a compound called iridoid glycosides, and this makes the caterpillar itself taste bitter. Birds try one, remember for life, and never dare eat another. That means the plant not only feeds the caterpillars, it also gives them a chemical defensive armor. And those same bitter iridoid glycosides are why the plant is deer resistant. Deer in North America have learnt over generations that turtlehead equals not tasty. In areas where deer destroy other gardens, turtlehead remains untouched. This is a four-sided armored plant for the ecosystem. Cold hardy in zones 3 to 8, suitable from Maine to Georgia. Wet soil? Perfect. Average moist soil? Okay. Beside a pond? Ideal. This is a perfect candidate for a rain garden, the place where water stands after rain that kills most other plants. Full sun to part shade both work. This plant is nearly immune to the plant clinic. Bumblebees and butterflies are the main visitors. Hummingbirds occasionally drop by. A few tips. Pinch the tips once in spring, and the plant will branch more, producing denser flower clusters instead of lanky stems. And this is the most important thing. Do not clean up the fallen leaves under the plant in winter. Baltimore checkerspot caterpillars use that leaf litter to overwinter. Cleaning the leaves perfectly means you just killed the very butterfly species you are trying to save. Needs good air circulation to avoid powdery mildew when the soil is dry. If your garden is drier than ideal, plant it where it gets afternoon shade and mulch heavily. As for come back forever, the rhizomes spread slowly but steadily. The clump expands year by year, living for decades without needing division. This is the kind of moment this plant gives you. Late August the year after planting, you clear the table after dinner. Step out onto the back porch to watch the sunset. 3 orange and black Baltimore checkerspot butterflies are perched on the plant you grew. You, the person who once thought you were too lazy to garden, just saved a line of Native American butterflies in your own backyard. There are not many moments in life better than that. Turtlehead is hardy in zones 3 to 8. August is the ideal time if your garden has a moist spot. Late summer rain helps it root quickly, and the plant has 8 weeks before the first winter to settle in. Plant number 6, toad lily. Do you have a deep shade corner under a big tree where nothing will grow? This plant not only grows there, it grows like a woodland orchid. The scientific name is Tricertis hirta, native to Japan, growing wild on the islands of Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu, clinging to rock faces and stream banks in the shade of mountain forests. This plant is extremely rare in North America. It was only introduced into American gardens in the 1990s, meaning by gardening standards here, it is still brand new. 90% of Americans have never heard its name. If you plant this plant, you belong to the remaining 10%. From a distance, the plant looks ordinary. Green leaves arranged ladder-like on slightly arching stems. Nothing special, but bend down 12 inches and the beauty appears. At every leaf axil, a cluster of small flowers bursts out, looking exactly like miniature Phalaenopsis orchids. The creamy white petals are speckled with hundreds of dark purple dots, exactly like leopard skin. And here is the important timing point. The plant begins blooming in late August, peaking in September and October. This is the bridge plant from summer garden to fall garden, blooming exactly when every other plant has stopped. Plants grow 2 to 3 feet tall, 1 to 2 feet wide. The name toad lily has 3 theories. 1. The purple dots on the flowers look like toad skin. 2. At the base of each petal there are 3 bumpy nectar glands that look like warts. 3. The plant likes constantly moist soil, like a toad's habitat. No one is certain, and all 3 make sense, but the truly extreme uniqueness lies in the bloom timing. The plant opens its jewel-like flowers exactly when most other woodland perennials have closed for the season. Bumblebees still visit the 3 nectar glands at the base of the petals, performing the last pollination duty of the season. Cold hardy in zones 4 to 9, tolerating down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Lives in light shade to deep shade, exactly the places where even hostas start to struggle. In the deep south, the plant needs the deepest shade possible, absolutely no afternoon sun. Deer resistant. This plant has no entries in your pest and disease notebook. The rhizomes creep slowly underground, expanding the plant gradually but steadily, living for decades without needing division. A few extremely important practical tips. Place the plant near a walkway or porch steps. The flowers are too small to appreciate from a distance. You have to bend close to see their full beauty. Planting it at the back of the yard is a waste. Shelter it from strong wind. The delicate flowers tear easily. The only thing that kills this plant is letting the soil dry out completely. It cannot tolerate prolonged drought. If you must choose a cultivar, choose Miyazaki. It gives the best display because about 80% of the flowers open at the same time, instead of scattered one by one. This is the kind of moment this plant gives you. You plant it beside the back steps. Late September, a guest comes over, bends down to tie a shoelace, sees the flower cluster, looks up and asks, "Is that an orchid?" No, it isn't, but it is more beautiful. Toad lily is hardy in zones 4 to 9. August is the ideal time to plant. Late summer moist soil, cool shade, the plant roots in 6 to 8 weeks before the first winter. Plant number 7. Yellow waxbells. If the toad lily just covered is the orchid for shade, then this plant is the Asian aristocrat standing beside it. Not many people in America know this plant. That is exactly why you should be one of the few who have it in the garden. The scientific name is Syringosoma palmata. The common name is yellow waxbells, roughly meaning yellow waxbells. Native to the moist mountain regions of Japan, the 2 islands of Shikoku and Kyushu, and Korea, where the plant clings to steep forest rock faces. Few people realize it is a relative of the hydrangea, belonging to the same Hydrangeaceae family, only the flowers look nothing like hydrangeas. And here is the detail the gardening world values. This plant received the Award of Garden Merit from the Royal Horticultural Society of Britain in 1993. That is the most prestigious seal in the Western gardening world. The plant forms a noble-looking clump nearly 4 feet tall, looking more like a small shrub than a herbaceous perennial. The deeply lobed maple-like leaves are a muted dusty green, up to 8 inches across, and the leaf surface is almost felted, soft like velvet to the touch. But the core feature of the plant is its extremely slow blooming process. In late August, the round buttered yellow buds begin to swell looking like berries. In the first week of September, the buds gradually elongate. By mid-September, the buds open into waxbell shapes. Flowers remain on the plant through the end of October. The show lasts 2 months, and every day the plant has a different appearance. The most elegant point is that the flowers always stay half open, half closed, never fully opening. It does not shout for attention, it whispers. Now for the seed pods. Alan Armitage, the well-known American perennial expert, calls the seed pods of this plant Stephen King fruit. 3 long horns stick out from a round greenish-brown capsule. He says they are enough to cause nightmares. Others describe them more mildly. They look like they came from outer space. That means you get a 3-phase show on the same plant. Summer is the muted green maple-like foliage. Late summer into early fall is the yellow bells slowly opening over 2 months. Late fall into winter is the 3-horned pods like tiny UFOs. Cold hardy in zones 4 to 8, down to -30 degrees Fahrenheit. Part shade to deep shade. This plant has no entries in your pest and disease notebook. Deer resistant. Combines beautifully with ferns, hostas and hellebores in the same shady corner. Mature size 3 to 4 feet tall, 2 to 3 feet wide, and older clumps will become much wider over time. A few tips. Snails and slugs love the young leaves when they first emerge in spring. Control them right away by sprinkling crushed eggshells around the base or using biological bait. Shelter from strong wind because the large leaves tear easily. If the leaves blacken in early spring, don't panic. That is from late frost, not disease. The plant will recover on its own. Never let the soil dry out. Lack of water makes the stems flop immediately, and that is the early warning so you can rescue it in time. Planting with hellebores is a perfect combo. Hellebores bloom in early spring. Waxbells take over in late summer, so your shady corner has flowers almost year-round. This is not a plant you grow to cover ground. This is a plant you grow so that every September you look out at the backyard and feel refined. Yellow Waxbells is hardy in zones 4 to 8. August is ideal for planting. Choose a shady corner facing north, east or west. Mix leaf compost into the soil and water deeply once a week until established. Plant number 8, Bugbane Black Negligee. This is the plant that makes September evenings in your backyard smell like a high-end wine shop. Ripe grapes, vanilla, somewhere a hint of jasmine. You don't need to go anywhere. Your own garden hosts the wine party. The scientific name is Adder Simplex Black Negligee, formerly called Simicafuga simplex, native to mountain slopes from about 1,000 to 10,500 feet in China, Japan, Korea, and the Russian Far East. Negligee in French means the lace edge of a nightgown, and the leaves of this cultivar are finely cut exactly like that. This is the highest-end version of the Bugbane line, with much stronger vigor than other black-leaved cultivars on the market. The leaves are lacquer black-purple, deeply cut like lace. Against that mysterious black foliage, the creamy white flower spikes rise 4 to 5 feet straight into the sky, looking exactly like Gothic wedding candles standing in the night. The flower spikes bloom from late August through the end of September, and here is the core timing point that no one tells you. The fragrance is strongest in the evening. The volatile oils only evaporate after the sun sets. During the day the plant is beautiful. In the evening the plant truly activates. This is a plant you grow for the golden hour after dinner, not for daytime. This is one of the very few perennials with a strong fragrance that still thrives in shade. Most strongly scented plants, lavender, rosemary, jasmine, all need full sun. Bugbane does not, and the name Bugbane literally means insect banisher. The plant has a sharp scent that the human nose cannot detect, but insects and deer smell extremely clearly. The plant repels pests on its own without you spraying anything. 3 things in one plant: beautiful flowers for the eyes, fragrance for the nose, and a sharp scent that repels insects for the whole garden. Cold hardy in zones 4 to 9, part sun to part shade. The more sun combined with enough water, the darker the leaves become. Attracts bees and butterflies, immune to serious diseases, lives long on durable rhizomes, the clump expanding over the years. The flower spikes are beautiful cut for vases, a Gothic bouquet you grew yourself for the living room. A few tips to remember. Shelter from strong wind because the 4 to 5 foot flower spikes tip easily. In windy areas they need staking. The flower spikes lean toward the light, so do not plant in too deep shade if you want them to stand upright. The little known secret: for the darkest leaves, give full sun plus plenty of water, not heavy shade plus water as most people assume. Mulch heavily in summer to hold moisture. Insufficient water causes leaf edge burn. The soil must be rich in humus and constantly moist. This is the kind of evening this plant gives you. September, you sit on the back porch with a glass of wine. A light breeze passes. You smell something. Ripe grapes? Vanilla? You cannot see the flowers in the dark, but you smell them. Crystal clear. That is the kind of evening this plant gives you. Bugbane is hardy in zones 4 to 9. August is the ideal time. Cool, moist soil. The plant roots quickly before winter arrives. Alright, you have reached plant number 8, the final plant. Plant number 9, I saved until the end for a specific reason. It can catch fire, not a metaphor. A match held near the plant on a summer night under the right conditions, and the air around the flower spike bursts into a blue flame. The daughter of a famous Swedish botanist once did this 200 years ago. Don't go anywhere. Plant number 9, gas plant. Alright, here it is. The plant that can catch fire. The plant I told you to wait for from the beginning of the video. The plant that the daughter of the Swedish botanist Carl Linnaeus once set the air above it alight with just a match, and the plant remained completely unharmed. This is not folk legend passed down by word of mouth. There are videos on YouTube, you can look them up yourself later. The scientific name is Dictamnus albus. There are 4 common names: gas plant, burning bush, dittany, and fraxinella. Native to southern Europe, North Africa, and South Central Asia. The ancient Romans and Greeks already knew it. It was beloved throughout the Middle Ages, living in monastery herb gardens for centuries. So why is it rarely seen now? Because it grows too slowly. From seed it takes 2 to 3 years to flower for the first time. Nurseries find it very difficult to grow it to a saleable size, so when it is available the price is high and few people buy it. This is a prestigious plant forgotten by the modern market because it does not give a quick show. The plant has a classic aristocratic form. Glossy varnished-looking leaves shaped like ash leaves. Brush the leaves lightly and a refreshing lemon scent rises. From late spring into early summer, the white or pale pink flower spikes with purple veins rise 2 to 3 feet. The 5-petaled star-shaped flowers have long protruding stamens like whiskers. This is what makes the plant legendary. On a hot, completely still summer night, the plant releases enough volatile isoprene gas to form an invisible cloud around the flower spike. You hold a match near the base of the spike, and that cloud bursts into a blue flame like a magic spell, and the plant remains completely unharmed, not burned at all. The name burning bush actually comes from the Bible. Many scholars believe this is the very burning bush that Moses saw. Here is the extreme uniqueness about come back forever. This plant can live 50 to 100 years. Plant it once, leave it alone for half a century. Never needs dividing, never needs relocating, needs nothing at all. That means you plant it this year at age 30, and it will still be blooming when your grandchildren are born. This is the only plant on today's list that truly comes back forever at the generational level. The 5-pointed starseed pods after the flowers fade are also beautiful. They slowly turn a deep color, then open to reveal shiny black seeds. The leaves smell of lemon all season. But one warning. Some people get skin allergies from this plant. The volatile oils plus sunlight cause blistering, called phototoxic. Wear gloves when working near the plant. This is not a plant to grow near paths where children run and play. Cold hardy in zones 3 to 8, extremely durable through weather extremes. Drought tolerant thanks to the thick, oily cuticle on the leaves. The same evaporating oil layer that makes the plant catch fire is also the protective coat against water loss. The plant defends itself and takes care of itself with the same single mechanism. Deer resistant because of the sharp scent in the oil. Lives for decades without needing division. This plant has no pest and disease entries in its medical file. Alkaline or neutral soil, well drained. Full sun to light shade. Now for the most important tip you must remember. The plant hates being moved. Choose the planting spot carefully from the very first time, because planting in the wrong place means you lose 3 years of waiting and have to start over. Be patient for 2 to 3 years. The plant grows slowly. The first year it looks like nothing is happening. Do not dig it up. Do not give up. If you sow from seed, sow in fall right when the seeds are freshly ripe, not in spring. The germination rate will be many times higher. Add a little lime when planting if the soil is acidic. And about the fire experiment, it only works on very hot, completely still nights, around June to July, when the plant has flowers and fresh seed pods. It does not always flare, but when it does, nothing compares. This is a plant you do not plant for this summer, not for next year. This is a plant you plant for the next 30 years. For the summer night you sit on the porch with a glass of wine in hand, light a match, and explain to your grandchild why the blue flame just flashed past the top of the plant, while the plant itself remained completely unharmed. Gas plant is hardy in zones 3 to 8. August is the ideal time of year to plant, mild and cool. The plant has little stress and 2 to 3 months to root before winter. Choose the permanent spot from the very first time. Alright, let me summarize for you. We just went through 9 plants, and the best way to remember them is by what you need them to do in the garden. For those difficult shady corners where nothing else will grow, toad lily, yellow waxbells and Bugbane Black Negligee. These 3 plants turn the darkest corner of your yard into a miniature Japanese woodland garden. For late summer hummingbirds and butterflies, little Adder Anise Hyssop, Turtlehead and Butterfly Ironweed. These 3 plants supply nectar exactly when butterflies prepare to migrate and hummingbirds fatten up before their 3,000-mile journey to Central America. For those hot, dry southern soils where other plants just die, iron butterfly, blackberry lily, and balloon flower. 3 plants you can forget to water for a whole month, and they still won't hold it against you. For high-end fragrance you don't have to pay for. Bugbane for the grape and vanilla scent. Little Adder for the licorice scent. Gas plant for the lemon scent. Your garden has scent, not just appearance. And for the moments when guests pull out their phones to take pictures, Turtlehead with its open-mouthed turkey head shape, gas plant with the blue flame flashing past on a summer night, and yellow waxbells with those 3-horned pods like tiny UFOs. This is what I want you to hear before you go. You do not need green thumbs. You do not need free weekends. You do not need to know everything about gardening before you start. And you do not need your garden to look like the neighbors. You only need to start with the right plants. And the right plants are not always the most popular ones. That is the secret no one told you all these years. Popular plants make your garden look like every other garden on the block. Distinctive plants give your garden its own soul. And once you have a garden with its own soul, you never want to go back. Now for the action part. Choose 3 plants from this list. Only 3. Plant them this month. You still have 8 to 10 weeks before the first frost. More than enough time for the roots to establish firmly and the plants to settle before winter. Don't be greedy. Don't choose all 9. Don't choose 5. Choose the 3 plants that excited you most while reading and plant them this week. Next August you will have 3 plants that no one else on your block has. Nothing compares to stepping out into the yard one August morning next year, coffee in hand, seeing a hummingbird hovering around a little adder clump 12 inches away, watching the balloon buds of balloon flowers swelling and waiting to burst, and knowing that you made that happen. You, the person who this summer sat watching this videos and thought, I'm too lazy to garden. From then until now, you have changed the way your garden exists. Not through more effort, but through smarter choices, and it is much easier than you think. Listen, we are only just beginning. Every week I bring exactly the ways to have a beautiful garden without letting it take over your life. Simple, practical, for real people with real schedules. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and this kind of content will come to you every week without you having to go looking. And before you go, comment below and tell me one thing. Which of these 9 plants will you plant first? The fire-starting gas plant, the open-mouthed turtlehead, or the balloon bud balloon flower waiting to burst? I read every comment. Really, I want to know what you choose. Now go outside, get a little dirt on your hands. You already have everything you need. See you in the next video.